What up? Welcome to Homegrown Hustle, where local brilliance takes the center stage. I'm your host, Matt Eichmann. Together, we're about to embark on an inspiring journey. Our community thrives on the wisdom of insightful leaders that are right here in our backyard. And we're bringing their expertise to your ears. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your guide. Join us every week in celebrating innovation, guidance, and the power to inspire greatness. Let's explore the stories that shape our local business landscape, and together, let's ignite the spark of excellence. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homegrown Hustle podcast. I am here with a social media influencer, the founder of Miss A Crochet. She crochets amigurumi dolls and has quite a few followers on Instagram and YouTube for sure. So check her out there. But Anna, thank you so much for coming on here today. I'm really excited about this. I'm not a big crochet dude myself, but a lot of the women in my family are. Maybe like I heard you have a course coming out maybe on crocheting, so we'll get into that later. But Anna, so tell us a little bit, like how did you, like where did it come from? Where did Miss A Crochet originate?
In this room. I started crocheting in January of 2020 and then the pandemic. And so, that was my senior year of high school. I'm like, I have to do something productive. Mm-hmm. So I taught myself how to crochet using YouTube. And then I think in 2021 or 2022, I started my Instagram handle, Miss A Crochet, which kind of flopped until I made this behemoth. And then, I started posting more and learning more about social media. And then in May 4th, Star Wars Day of 2023, I started my YouTube channel, Miss A Crochet as well. And then because I was watching and consuming so much other crochet content, I had seen so many other people doing in-person like markets and selling their handmade items at events and stuff. And so that June of 2023, I got my LLC. I signed up for a couple markets that summer, and I haven't looked back since.
I like your story is so cool, and it just shows like how powerful technology is and the internet. Like, yeah. As you were talking, I was thinking about a question like, do you remember your parents ever having like a flip phone or ever?
Yeah, I had. Well,
okay.
Yes. Cause I'm a 2002 baby. So like I had the VHS. I had that. I think I had like the little like BlackBerry thing, like the little tiny thing.
All right. So we haven't quite got there. I definitely
lived during that. Yes.
Okay. But you grew up in a generation where social media is like, it's been here, right? So that's, for some of us that are a little bit older than you, like it's something we had to kind of learn, and maybe we were just older and we saw it like become a thing, and that's the only difference. But you like learned like from the beginning on social media from whoever that person was. And then all of a sudden you're just like, yep, it's May the 4th. This is the best day to start this on, and you fired up a social media channel. Was it because you saw like how, like you saw other people were doing it and you're like, yo, I can do this? Or what was going through your mind when you did that?
Well, throughout like that whole time, like I had to watch YouTube to learn how to crochet. And so like, once you kind of get into that, like other people post more than just tutorials. So then I was like watching people, design patterns or like crochet challenges, like trying to crochet like something in 24 hours. And I was like, I had always watched like YouTube, like as a little kid or, whatever. And like, I've always been into the arts and crafting and things like that. And eventually my Instagram had gotten like, it was growing, and I was like, people like me.
Yes.
wow.
Well, you've got a great personality. You got a great energy right now. I love it.
I was like, I could probably do this, and I think I had started filming that video probably in February, because again, it was like a huge project. And then, that was like my first time editing like a YouTube video or anything. And I remember like May 3rd, I was like, holy crap, like I forgot to take a thumbnail. I don't know what to do. Like, what do I put in the description? Like, I do not know what's going on, but I did it. It got posted on time. And, now I've attempted to be a consistent person, and that hasn't really happened, but the channel's still growing, and it's still doing well.
Yeah. And so Instagram was kind of the first one, right? And then did you fire YouTube up like later on? Is there like some really easy crossover there, or was it more long form content? You were trying to get views there. Like, what was behind that?
Well, with Instagram, I first started off just doing like picture posts. And then once Reels became a thing, like Reels have been my bread and butter. Like my picture posts, even now, do terrible. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I really like doing the picture posts because I like, the kind of photography aspect and like, what's your background am I going to use? The
creative part of it.
They tank, and they're so bad. So once I started doing Reels, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like I can do long form content, like the stuff that I had been watching. And I can also contribute something new, I think, because at that time I was only maybe crocheting for like 3 years, and I was relatively new, but like this is kind of egotistical, but I think that my crochet was really high quality already for how long
the high grade for sure.
And so I was like, I can do this, and I can also insert my own personality, which is something that I wanted to create the content that I wanted to watch. And sometimes I wasn't getting that. So I was like, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be something.
So were you not getting it because the people that were making it were like middle-aged moms?
Calling me out there. Yeah, a little bit. I definitely, a lot of people sometimes in the crochet community are a little bit more soft-spoken or very like calm, and that's not, like, to me, that's not real. It's very much this is turning sociological. I'm sorry. It's very much a presentation of themselves, whereas I try and be authentic, and like if something doesn't work, like I'm not going to cut that out of the video. Like that's going to be a part of the video. Like that's going to be me going like, what the heck did I do wrong? Like, why are my stitch counts off? Why does this look ugly? And I think, I don't know, my brain just died.
No, I think what you're talking about there, though, like that authenticity.
Yes.
The people that aren't creating and putting that out there, oftentimes it's because they don't want to put their authentic self out there.
Right.
Maybe because of like a self-confidence thing, right? But like you're putting that out there, you're getting thousands of views on stuff. Like I'm kind of jealous, honestly. Like we're doing okay, but I mean, obviously crocheting is more exciting than the CEO of a pest control company talking to local small businesses. But that sentence doesn't really make sense when I say it, but you're still doing it. And that's what's crazy about it. Like, so you're doing it, but then you're also full-time college student trying to graduate. Yeah. That's kind of priority number one. And this is kind of just a side hustle that really came from, I mean, tell the story about like what you did. Cause you're attending Augsburg, right? And tell the story, Anna.
Yeah, so right now, this is kind of my super senior year. I transferred to Augsburg in spring of 2021 from St. Cloud State. after they canceled our orchestra program. At the time I was a BM music performance major, and so obviously I need to be in an ensemble. And so I transferred to Augsburg. And it probably had been maybe a year or two before I had joined this kind of council for our music students. And every year the school has these auditions that they do, and then they give out music scholarships to us. And so a lot of times, you just find out if you won through an email. And we were like, okay, these students and us ourselves who auditioned for this,
You're not reading emails.
Really hard. Yeah, we're like, we work really, really hard to like prepare for this. Like it's a really big thing. And we were like, look at all those like athlete people, they get all their stupid award ceremonies. Not to say that athletes are like not deserving of that, but like the music people always get the short end of the stick. And so we came up with the golden
advocate. I love it.
Yeah.
And shout out to equality. I mean, I was one of those jocks that had like the stupid award things, but like, you're right. You're right. Because the friends that I had that were in music, like you're not the first person to have that thought, but you just like went and changed it. So anyway, back to the story.
So we hosted the Golden Augies, an award ceremony, and it's kind of high stakes. Like sometimes people win like full ride scholarships. And then of course there are some people that don't win anything. And so my contribution to helping plan this event was to crochet like the participation award, which was 45 baby, like maybe like this size crochet eagles. I wish I still had one, but I actually sold the one that I made for myself at my last market because I was like, give me the money instead. So my school.
Maybe that's the angle. Maybe we just start selling those to Augsburg alumni.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea. You can take it.
Yeah. And so I calculated the price for all of them. I gave like a bulk ordering discount. And my school paid me to crochet like 45 little baby eagles to give out to people at this event, and they were a huge hit. And so that was incredibly validating for sure to like have my institution pay me.
Quick. So is it, in my mind, I'm picturing like a rap battle, but people are playing their different instruments back and forth to see like who is that. That's not what. Okay. Okay. We'll circle back to that later, but it sounds like a super cool, like you're a doer, obviously. Like that's not something that somebody just,
you can't really argue against that, man.
Yeah. Well, like, but you went from an email to like creating this whole other event experience, really.
Yeah.
And like the community that's there, you really made that a community experience instead of like the most informal like definitely got some of those in my history, but like emails are kind of dead, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was definitely like a huge way for me to network because I was really sneaky, and like when I made the things, I made little tags that had my logo on them and like follow me on Instagram, and then I had like the little participant's name written on it. So then again, it was a way for me to also get a ton of exposure. And then I was also getting people that hadn't auditioned that wanted to buy one. So then because they weren't buying it in bulk, I could then charge them like full price. So I think there were a couple people that I charged like $17 to make one, because by that time I never wanted to make
honey,
that
we got to charge way more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. I never wanted to make that thing ever again. I'm like, I've made 50 of these things, get these out.
Yeah. But maybe that's the angle. You pull like the Jordan release date concept. Did this camera just die here? No, you just moved it. I moved the camera? Give me a second.
Technology.
Like if you do like a limited release and make like a collector, we need to put that error in the podcast, by the way, somehow. To your point you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
So,
a collector's item. And I will say there are some people in the crochet community that do that, but there are also some people that abuse that really bad. Like there's a really huge account who's like, this is the last time you'll ever be able to buy like this one purse. And then they charge like a ton of money. And then because they made so much money, they'll do it again saying the same thing. And people have called them out for it, but they don't stop. So like there's definitely a line that can be crossed.
But I mean,
at
the end of the day, when it comes to like, you're a perfect example. Like you can start a business, like literally doing whatever you want. And then like layer on social media on top of it. Right. It's just like, what are you passionate about? Like even as simple as like, you could probably just start a business that makes those little eagles you're talking about and you sell them to alumni and then like, maybe somebody else is going to have to do them because I would maybe not like that eagle so much after having to crochet that so many times. But like you find an audience, you find something, and then you just put it out there. And if there's the right group, people can buy it. And as long as you sell it for more than you bought it for, then you make money. That's kind of how a business goes. But so like that whole process of starting a business while in school, did you have like some support going through that, or like what was that all about?
Yeah, I've definitely had an amazing support system at home. My parents are both incredibly proud, but they have always encouraged me to do kind of whatever I want. I have a pretty severe hearing loss, and when I was little, I told them, I'm like, I want to play piano. Like, I want to have piano lessons. And, you know, I was the only hard of hearing person that they really knew. And they were like, okay, let's do this. And then, you know, when it came to middle school and you had to pick between band or orchestra, and I was like, I'm going to do the violin. And they were like, okay, let's, you know, like you can do that. And then, that turned into me learning like 5 other instruments. But throughout all of that, they have supported me. And even, you know, my music major, which stereotypically kind of follows along that kind of starving artist line, they were like, you have to do this. I mean, like, this has been your life. And, you know, they also know that I have that internal drive. And like, I also have, you know, this, I now have a second major. I have so many options. There's not going to be like, I'm not going to fall into that starving artist trope. And, you know, and they also wouldn't let me because they would, you know, they would always have been there to support me throughout school, crochet, life in general.
Well, I mean, that's amazing. Having that support, especially as a young person, like that does a lot so that you can go out and do what you do. Like you pretty much it seems like when you decide that you want to do something, like you just make it happen and figure it out. Right. So if you had to give somebody who's in college, plus trying to start a side hustle, a little bit of advice about kind of what you learned in your first 6 to 18 months of your business, like what advice would you give?
Okay, one of the biggest things I think would definitely be to make sure that you're paying yourself enough. I think with my first market, I wasn't as good at, you know, weighing out all my materials. So like I have a scale that I use to weigh out the yarn. I try and calculate how much stuffing I use, like the cost for safety eyes. And there were definitely times where I slacked doing that. And I regret that now, thinking about that, where I was like, I should have made and given myself more money and more props for that. I was also then only charging myself like $11 an hour. And now I've bumped it up to 15 because I've also grown.
That's like
so
minimum
much
wage. We gotta charge way more than that, but good for you. You're right. Like, like, okay. So how did you have to like, was there a point where you had sold some and you're like, dang, that took me like a really long time to do it? Or was there like someone on social media that you learned that from?
I definitely, like, for pricing wise, I definitely learned, I watched a lot of, her name is like Cameron's Cute Creations, and she makes and sells like this spreadsheet thing, and I bought it and I was like, this doesn't all apply to me. I don't have a website yet or whatever. And so then I learned through her document how to make all the formulas that I then use to price. And so I definitely think like if you're going to start your business, make sure you're paying yourself, make sure you're adding on like Minnesota taxes, because you're going to have to pay the taxes for that. And also add on like a little bit of margin for profit, because I mean, you're going to pay yourself, or at least I pay myself hourly, but you also like want to make money. So add on, a percentage of profit to each little item, just to like make sure that you're really, really covered and that you aren't losing money at all.
I know people that run multi-million-dollar businesses that still don't do that. They're just out there trying to grow their business. So the fact that you learn that at a really early stage, I think is really wise, because as you grow a business, like being able to separate the business dollars and your personal dollars, like it's kind of the same thing when you're the only one doing it and you're the one putting the time and effort and energy into it, but the state doesn't really care. No, they will take your money for sure. And just being able to separate that out. So how do you go about like thinking about your business now and like content creation? I know like graduating college is the goal, but like how are you thinking about content creation particularly? Because I think there's a lot of value you can bring to the people listening here.
Yeah. Last year I was a little crazy. And I was trying to post at least 4 times a week on Instagram. And I would do like the stupid trick where it's like you post at the same time every time. And I was just following trends and it wasn't being received very well. And then I was also just miserable because I was just trying to like turn on the switch and be like, look I crocheted this, look. And now I think, because I felt I just wasn't proud of that work, and it was all just again for that growth. Now I really am trying to focus on quality over quantity, and also maintaining my own happiness, because once you get into like that kind of cycle where it's all about growth or it's all about the money, the joy is gone. And I've definitely had to have like some conversations with myself, being like, okay, if I want to keep doing this beyond school and I want to keep people, from like staying and establishing a relationship with me, I have to be genuine. And I've been trying to do that a lot more, which definitely means posting less, at least, just posting less in general, because school, of course, but, saying the things that I want to say. The last reel that I just posted on this like last Thursday is at like, I think 11,000 views right now. And, it's just saying like what I want to say, because I was feeling a lot, we had the election and I was just like, I have to say this. And it has definitely, it was a risk, but I've gotten a lot of support. And even with like my YouTube, I try and keep in the mistakes, I try and keep in the part where I'm like, I'm crocheting this thing and I'm looking at it and it's kind of ugly because a lot of people don't include that. And so I think creating the content that I like to watch, which is somebody being genuine, is really my goal right now.
So when you're watching other people's content, then like, is there like a type of feeling that you kind of get through watching, like maybe somebody that isn't authentic and you're like, oh, I can tell this is an affiliate marketing or like something like that. So like, is that like, does that empathy come through to you as a creator? Yeah. Fascinating.
It definitely did before I started my YouTube channel. And then now, I'm going to be honest, now I can hardly watch other crochet creators sometimes, because to me, maybe it's just like, I'm not interested in what you're making, or I can just tell just how much has been cut out and edited and how perfect and like
super
they
vanilla,
only show their clean house. And I'm just like, I want it to be like a podcast. And so, I will talk and ramble in my videos, and I will probably say the same thing like 10 times in a video. And it just becomes kind of a joke where, if I'm editing the video, sometimes I'll have like a little tally of like, how many times did she say, I don't know. And, it'll be like in the 20s sometimes, but it's just different. And I definitely have those moments where I'm like, oh, wow, that was really cringe. I should edit that out. But then there's the other part where I'm like, I can make this into a joke and people can relate to it. And that's what I want to do. I just want to create like a community that can be authentic and be silly and just spread love and creativity.
Instead of just a bunch of trolls out there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Don't.
I mean, yeah. It's like the inevitable, trolls. Right? Because you're opening like your social interactions to like literally anybody, right? And that's why a lot of people don't put it out there, is they're like worried about that. But like, I kind of feel bad for those people. Like anybody that's going to take time out of their day to like troll. I don't know. Like, there's got to be something messed up going on for them to have to do that.
I get a lot of people like that on Facebook, because I now have started cross posting like from Instagram to Facebook, and there have been times where
a lot of moms on Facebook.
Yeah, there have been times where I talk about my pricing, and people are like, "What? You charge that much? You handmade? Like, you shouldn't be charging that. You shouldn't be paying yourself that much. Like, I can get that for so much cheaper." And I mean, there was one point where like there was this lady who was commenting so much and like tagging me that I turned off comments, and then she started sharing the video to her own like personal feed, but I knew she was sharing it because it was my own thing and I was notified, and talking about how like terrible of a person I am, and like I turned off comments, I'm such a coward. And I was like, this is not it. Like, this is, now I'm like getting into the region where like this does not feel like a safe space. So there's definitely pros and cons of like talking about your business, sharing the numbers, and expressing yourself and being like, hey, this is me, like I made this dumb mistake, and people are going to be like, you're so stupid, but other people are gonna be like, I did the same thing yesterday.
Well,
it's a risk I have to take.
Well, what's really interesting is like so content creation in and of itself can be a business, right? But then like you're actually like monetizing this other, like the work you're putting in, right? And the things that people are coming to watch. But with these platforms, like if you get enough people to subscribe and watch and all that stuff, like it's not just a whole bunch of dopamine hits. Like you can actually make money. Like there's people out there, like YouTuber is like a job that kids nowadays want to have. And that to me is just amazing. Like technology and social media, it's like magic. Like with how fast stuff can happen and how you can learn and how you can teach and just really facilitate human interaction. And then what happens after that, it's kind of like outside of your control. But what are you planning on doing besides graduating with flying colors? What else are you going to do?
I definitely want to keep up with this small business. It has brought me a lot of creative fulfillment. And like you said, with the YouTuber thing, I don't always love calling myself a YouTuber because I'm incredibly inconsistent right now, but I am making a passive income from that, which is that was my goal. Like, I want this thing that, I'm going to I put in a lot of work. I put in my hours for sure. But I also want to make money beyond that. And I think, the same can be said with this business. I don't sell my physical plushies online yet. I sell them mostly in person, but I do sell like my crochet patterns online. And so that is just another passive income that I can use while I'm, pursuing my like I kind of call it my like real life in-person dreams, which is being like a gigging musician. So like that would include like playing at weddings. We have an amazing Minnesota orchestra. We have the Minnesota Opera. We have my violin professor plays in a lot of like the candlelight concerts. Like doing things like that would be my dream. But I also know that I need to have a lot of different avenues open, which is why I have this small business. Not only it brings me joy, but that is a pathway that I could take. And then I also have my other major, sociology, where, you know, I could go and work for a nonprofit, or, you know, or I could make my own. That's, you know, sociology, or a nonprofit in music, or a nonprofit in crochet. Like I've just been really trying to keep all the doors open. And so, you know, this next year after I graduate is going to be me trying to juggle all of that.
Well, that's exciting. You're in a very transformational stage in your life. And a lot of people, like, I have two sisters right around your age, and you remind me a lot of them, actually. Not sure if they're down with crocheting, but I might be like really cool right now for talking to you. They might like be one of your followers or something. That would be
I've
sweet.
had that happen to people
Katie and
before.
Elizabeth, I hope you see this. But like, I think for young people, young entrepreneurs, like sometimes the path isn't clear, and maybe they don't have somebody in their corner that shows them the path or the ambition that you have to go through and just like keep figuring shit out. But like what you've done, it's very real. Like, and you can kind of show people that path through just talking about your story. And that's really why we do this, is because like being an entrepreneur, now you're identifying problems that aren't really problems, but they're problems if you want to have a different existence than you currently have. So now like you're creating through just figuring out what that next barrier is and getting through it. So I'm really excited for you. I think there's a lot of ways you can go with it. And you're going to go with it. So people can get in touch with you on your social media, and we'll get to that. But really the only way to get some of these amigurumi dolls that you have right now, we got one event coming up. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I am going to be selling at it's like, if you can find it on Facebook, just another holiday hangout, November 23rd, Bloomington, Minnesota. I'm pretty sure it's at like Bloomington's high school. If you just search on Facebook, just another holiday hangout, it will be there. I will be selling, I think as of right now, I'm at like 130 items. I'm still working on it. You know, I still got a week or two, maybe.
It's a limited inventory. So
yeah, I know. I just have like a lot of...
we'll share that. We'll share that link. And then, so tell us where people can get in contact with you about just kind of following your story or trying to get down with you in the crocheting. Like, how do they get in touch with you?
You can definitely find me on Instagram. It's just miss.a.crochet. YouTube, Miss A Crochet. I also like cross post on Facebook. That's it. YouTube for sure. I try and respond to all my comments anywhere, but definitely on YouTube is where I can talk a lot more, and we can be friends.
That's awesome. Well, so I got one last question for you, and because like the term side hustle, it's become like a term now, right?
Yeah.
And hustle in business has almost kind of become like a little bit of a negative connotation around hustle. But for a younger generation, somebody who's a social media influencer and like literally that's a side hustler, like how do you define the word hustle?
I think hustle, I think to me, like, what immediately comes to mind is like hustle and bustle, and like the fact that maybe kind of juggling a lot of things at once. You know, I think, you know, you have a lot of eggs in different baskets, to me is kind of like the epitome of that, because a side hustle if we're talking side hustle, it's not, I guess like the main hustle, and it's something else that you can rely on or something for support. And so I think it's kind of just having your eggs in multiple baskets and, you know, constantly working, constantly going around, constantly thinking about, you know, whatever it is that you're doing.
I love that. That's fantastic. I got one more question.
Okay.
Is there any way you could make me and our team at Abracadabra amigurumi abracadabra doll?
I can definitely try.
Try, please. It would be a great video.
Yes.
I feel like this would be a great video opportunity, like cross post.
It would be. Pattern designing is a beast.
I'll pay you for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
I know. I just mean like
I feel like this is a soft no, but I'm gonna take it as a soft yes.
No. It is a soft yes. It is. You have to probably wait until December when I'm not in school.
Okay. What about, like, do you have J term? It's coming up, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's maybe, okay. To be determined, I guess. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Anna. You probably got class to get to or something like that, but I really appreciate you taking the time. I love your story. I love what you're doing. Can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us on the Homegrown Hustle, everybody. Like, share, comment, talk about how cool Anna is. And I don't know if you're selling any of those dolls in the background, but if somebody wants to start throwing like bids out there, my kids would love that freaking whale. I know that. So I don't know how much you're. Please. Okay, fine. All right. Well, go check her out. Thanks again. Really appreciate your time, Anna. Thanks again for joining us on Homegrown Hustle. Our local business community thrives because of the brilliant leaders right here in our backyard. And it's been an absolute privilege to provide them with a platform to share their invaluable expertise. Stay tuned for more insight, wisdom, and inspiration from our local business champions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Together, we'll continue to nurture and expand our homegrown success stories. Matt Eichmann signing off until our next insightful episode.